OPEC Plus has agreed to further raise oil production in an attempt to win back its market share. OPEC Plus agreed on Sunday to boost production by 137,000 barrels a day from October. It has been pumping more oil since April, but this new move comes as a surprise because the market already looks oversupplied. Oil prices are down about 15% so far this year. Well, Amena Bakr is head of Middle East at Kpler. Amena, what's driving this decision now?
I think it's more of a signal than actual barrels. The increment, as you see, 137,000 barrels by October, isn't a big increment. And we've quickly realized that these unwinding of the cuts, they don't really materialize into real barrels in the market. For example, the 2.2 million barrels a day of voluntary cuts that's going into the market, that's probably going to result in something like 1.5 or a little bit under 1.5 million barrels a day of real barrels into the market, while this 137 is probably going to result into 70,000. And that's because many of these states are already reaching their maximum capacity. They're reaching their limits here. In addition to that, you still have the compensation cuts, which is buffering the overall increment.
Saudi Arabia, though, in particular, has got more capacity, hasn't it? So is it willing to pump more and prioritise market share and perhaps accept lower prices?
I think the two countries in the group that still have spare capacity or meaningful spare capacity that can come online quite quickly are Saudi Arabia and the UAE. So both countries, I think, will be meeting those new quotas that they've been given. Does it gain market share for them? Yes, it does. But at the same time, I just want you to look at the Saudis' OSPs and how they price their oil. If they were really after market share, they would be more aggressive in offering discounts into Asia. We do expect OSPs to come off a little bit for this month, but just judging from previous months, they haven't been that aggressive.
Is this partly a geopolitical signal to Donald Trump, who's called on OPEC Plus countries to bring the price down?
I don't think so, because Trump recently tweeted, I know that earlier in the year, he was clearly targeting $50 oil. He said, I want $50, $50 is the fair price. However, in recent tweets, he said he was okay. He was fine. He was happy where oil prices are at. So I don't think he is too concerned of where oil prices are at. And he wants to maintain this level, which is also very beneficial for the shale industry. Any price that comes a little bit under that, and if we go into the 50s, that's when shale production starts to take a hit. And again, Donald Trump does want to protect and make sure that the industry grows in the US.
How do you expect this to play out then in terms of the price?
Well, we've seen the reaction today. Brent prices are at 66, so the market kind of dismissed this increase, given that it's a small increment and the real barrels coming in won't be that significant. So overall, the market knows that this is more of a signal rather than real barrels. I think in chess, you would call it a waiting move. So OPEC is really signaling to the market that they see a good level of demand. They are, of course, at the back of their minds, they understand that we might have over supply, but they look at inventory levels at OECD levels are still under the 5-year average. It's true China's inventory buying has been accelerating, and we expect it to do so, and that really adds to the incremental demand. So markets have, I would say, understood the move.
That price, of course, is being buoyed up by sanctions on both Iran and Russia. If the US were to ease sanctions on either country, would we see a substantial fall?
There is a geopolitical premium, absolutely, to that price, but I think it's also a marginal premium. And what we're seeing from Donald Trump, especially on Iran, is that he's really tightening those sanctions. He just released that recent list of sanctions on Iranian individuals, and there are even, talks that countries like Iraq, for example, are also concerned about sanctions, US sanctions on them. And with Russia, the situation is still unresolved. We don't know how these sanctions are going to impact Russian exports. We're not seeing it now. But then, that's a risk factor and does add to the premium. But I don't think the premium is in the range of $10, for example. I think it's a much smaller premium.
That was Amena Bakr of Kpler. And don't forget, you can watch more videos on Reuters.com.